I have a few different Lamy pens with different nib sizes. So here we have a Lamy Safari, here we have a Lamy LX, Lamy All-Star, Lamy Joy, Lamy Nex, and Lamy Vista. And each of these have a different nib size. So I'm going to cycle through them and try a Shimmertastic ink, well, a shimmering ink. This is a J. Herbin 1670, which is a very dark blue with gold shimmering particles in it. And what I'm going to do is just dip each of these nibs in and then write a little bit to test to see how well each of these different nib sizes shimmer. So I'm going to start off with this guy. This is a Lamy Safari with an extra fine nib. Just going to shake the ink for consistency. Dip in the nib. And write something. So this is the Safari extra fine. Quick brown. And then I'll put a little patch at the end of the sentence. Okay, let's see what we got. So the individual words don't seem to be shimmering very much. There you might see a little bit of a shimmer there on the eye. Even the patch doesn't really show up. Oh, there, you've got a little bit of a cloud of gold in there. But that's a special case. The font itself only lightly shimmers, and you really do have to hold it up to the light in the right way. So let's move on to a medium. Well, sorry, no, let's move on to a fine. So this is a fine. This is a fine Safari. Gonna do the same thing, except this time let's try a different ink. Let's go with this Emerald of Chivor green. Similar ink, except this time it's green and gold. So I'll shake it up. Dip. Okay. Alright, same test. Here we have a Lamy Vista. Let me go clean that up. Okay, Vista, and that's in fine. So you'll notice that there's a difference in line thickness here, as you would expect from extra fine to fine. Let's have a close look. Let's see what we've got here. Also up here, by the parentheses around the F, get a little bit of shimmering. If you hold it up to the light at an angle, you can see some shimmering, but it's very subtle. If you were to write somebody a letter and they didn't know to look, they probably would not notice that you're using a shimmering ink, which is kind of a problem if that's a property that you would like. Okay. Alright, let's move on to a medium nib. So medium and ambidextrous, which I have here, should be the same size. So let's use the gray. This is gray and gold. Shake it up. Okay. This is the Lamy LX. Lamy Nibs. I didn't get enough ink. Okay, that's better. That is an ambidextrous or medium. Okay. Let's see what we got. Same sort of thing. It seems like a matte gray. But if you look really closely, you definitely see some shimmer. The T, for example, the T and the H. It's just with the extra fine, even with a high contrast ink like the dark blue, there's just not enough area to see the shimmer. With fine, I think it's slightly better, but still too subtle. Medium, it's closer, but if you look head on, you really can't see anything. So let's try moving on to broad and see how that differs. So for broad, I'm going to use a Lamy Safari, remove the nib, which is a pretty straightforward operation. Just grab it and yank it off. Then take one of these guys. Oh, it's medium. Here. Let's see. Get the right one. Yeah, broad. All right. Same thing, just kind of slides on the tracks. All right, center, and I'll use the same ink color just because I don't want the inks to mix on the feed. Okay, same guy, blue. Mix it up. Okay, so this is the Lamy Safari in broad. Now you'll notice a lot more ink is flowing out of this one. It's a broad nib, so you have a larger metal ball at the end of the pen, and it tends to drop a lot more ink. Contrasting these two. So, Let's have a close look. I would say that this ink is not all that shimmery, even with broad. If you were to look straight on, you would see a little bit in the eye, CK. There in the F. Again, it's about getting the reflection correct. But it could also be that this ink is not a very shimmery one. So for the next one, the 1.1 millimeter, I'm going to try the Emerald of Chivor again, because that seems to be the more shimmery of the inks. So, again, mix it up. And 1.1, which is going to be this All-Star. Same thing. Dip it. Okay. Lamy All-Star 1.1 millimeter. So in this case, definitely have the line variation because of the italic nib. If we take a closer look, I would say it's still pretty subtle. But there's more ink on that upstroke. So where it pools, you might be able to see a little bit more shimmering. Doesn't seem that shimmery though. Alright, let's do the last one, 1.5. Okay, and this is the Lamy Joy 1.5. And I'm going to dip it in the gray. So again, shake it up. Okay. See what we get. Let's see how the 1.5 turns out. Even in the blob, it seems a little subtle. But now you can see there as you kind of roll the paper and get it to reflect correctly. Let's do a quick comparison. Medium. If we look at lazy, A little bit of a reflection there. Look at this lazy. Slightly thicker line. I would say it's a subtle difference. So these inks may not be the most shimmery of the inks, so it's possible that with the Shimmertastic line, Diamine's Shimmertastic line, you might get more obvious shimmering. But I think, based on the little experiment we did here, the broader the nib, the better when it comes to shimmering, because there's more ink put down.